Ladies, if you're still doing hours of cardio and wondering why you're not toned, or if you've ever told yourself, I don't want to get too bulky, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to break down the 5 biggest myths that Asian women believe that are holding them back from their fitness journey and also sabotaging their progress, especially if their goals or if your goal is to get that toned and feminine body. Hey, and if you're new to this channel, my name is Chin Yang and I've helped over thousands of Asian women now all across the world to tone up to get in their most confident shape without sacrificing the foods they love or spending hours doing cardio or at the gym. I know how frustrating that can be, and I've been there myself before where I felt like I was doing everything right and I just still wasn't getting into the body that I wanted. Now, in this video, these 5 myths are not just holding you back, but they are also causing you more harm than good. So let's break them down. The first myth is that lifting is going to make you bulky. Now, this one is everywhere and I can't count the amount of times I've heard women tell me this. It's also why so many Asian women will opt for maybe like Pilates or yoga or something else instead, high intensity, rather than actually getting themselves to the gym and lifting heavy. Now, here's the truth, ladies. Muscle is actually what's going to give you shape. Building muscle is what's going to help you get that toned and defined body. That toned look, that Pilates body does not actually come from just Pilates and yoga and cardio, but rather that Pilates body actually comes from a foundation of proper weight training. Now, what's even more important to consider is that us Asian women, we're naturally smaller built. We have smaller frames. So it's going to be a lot harder for us to even actually bulk up and to actually build a muscle. Hence why we really do need to prioritize building muscle even more. Now, unless you are eating in a huge calorie surplus and you are just out there eating everything and you're barely moving, right, and you're putting on a lot of body fat, there is no way that you are going to end up looking bulky, okay? And also, by the way, muscle does not grow overnight. So if you start weight training in 401, you're like, I'm building on muscle and I'm getting to a point where I don't want to build on any muscle, you can also just stop or just like change your programming so that it's not so focused on just building muscle and prioritizing that. But again, like that is so hard to get to that point, so it's not even something that you have to worry about. Now, the second myth that I always hear is I need to eat clean to get in shape. Here's the thing, you do not need to be eating chicken breast and broccoli every single day just to get in shape. You don't need to eat like a bodybuilder. This is one of the biggest traps that I see a lot of women falling for, and what ends up happening is you end up restricting, you end up cutting out the foods you love, the rice, the noodles, the meals with your family, because suddenly it's no longer clean food, and you end up feeling burnt out and you end up binging later because you can't keep up with this. Now, as Asian women in particular, your cultural foods are not the problem. I eat rice every single day, I love my noodles, and I'm still in shape. It's not about the food, it's about the portions, it's about your education around the food that matters the most. The secret really isn't clean eating, but rather I like to say it's consistent eating. It's consistent eating that's based on your goals, your body, and also again backed by knowledge. What you want to be doing is you want to be prioritizing protein, fiber, complex carbs, and healthy fat. So having a really balanced meal there. You also want to focus on obviously your portion control, right? There's nothing wrong with rice, but if you're having 5 bowls a day, that may not help you with your goals in toning up or reducing body fat. The third biggest myth and limiting belief that I see a lot of women are held back by is the belief that this is just my body, like this is my genetics, it's my body type, I can't change the way I look. Now, here's the truth, your body type may influence naturally how you're built, but you can always change that. That's like the foundation. You can always build from that foundation. As I mentioned earlier, us Asian women, we're a bit more petite usually, we're typically more skinny fat, right? It's hard for us to build a muscle. That may be the body type that we're born with, but that doesn't mean you're screwed and that's going to be your body type forever. If you have the right plan in place, you can adjust that and you can change that. What matters most really is, again, your consistency with your training style, with your nutrition and your lifestyle. Now, I've had clients who are naturally very skinny fat came to me being like, I've done everything I possibly could and I just still can't change my body. And what we did is we got them to prioritize weight training, naturally lifting heavy, prioritizing a proper nutrition plan, and they've been able to tone up. Same thing, we've had clients who have been overweight or just chubby their whole life and they've always known themselves as like the bigger girl. And again, that's what they identify themselves with. So every time they struggled on their fitness journey, they came back to the limiting belief of, well, I think this is just my body. I'm just built bigger, I have bigger bones, and I just can't get smaller, right? But again, we've been able to help them tone up, to lean out, to get a really defined look, right? And be able to sustain that by actually educating them, getting them out of those limiting beliefs, and actually understanding how their body works, how to train and eat according to their body type, and their goals. So don't write yourself off based by your genetics. Your body will change when your habits do. Now, the next myth, and something that really holds a lot of women back, is the belief that I need to burn fat first. Now, Now, this myth is so dangerous because it not only holds you back, but it makes it so much harder for you to actually tone up and get that body you want. The belief typically goes like this: I need to lose fat first before I can build muscle. So what I'll do is I'm just going to focus on cardio and eating less right now, and then I'll start weight training later when I've lost all this body fat. Now, that is backwards, because when you actually build muscle, you build up your metabolism, which makes it a lot easier for you to actually lose body fat. So it's like killing two birds with one stone. So instead of thinking about shrinking to a smaller version of yourself, start by thinking, how can I get into a stronger and fitter version of myself? And naturally, you're going to lose that body fat and you're going to tone up. Now, the next myth and the fifth myth is something that really hits home, personally for me and again for a lot of our clients, and that is that Asian meals, home cooked meals, our cultural foods are unhealthy. This really hits home because growing up, I always heard this. I would hear people say that Asian food's too oily, Asian food's too carb heavy, and if we're going to continue eating those Asian foods, you'll never get in shape. And the problem with that is that it's simply not true. The issue isn't the food, it's not the dishes that you love that you've grown up with, but again, it's the portion sizes, it's perhaps how you're actually preparing those foods that matter the most. Things like, for example, stir fries, ramen, soup, dumplings, those can all be adjusted, and depending on how you make them and prepare them and the portions that you eat will directly impact, obviously, how your body looks, right? The calories that you intake and whether you will reach your goals or not. So instead of demonizing your cultural foods and feeling like you have to disassociate yourself from those to get in shape, learn about portion control and actually educate yourself. You can absolutely get toned with your Asian foods. My clients, they eat dumplings, pho, ramen, sushi every day, and they still get in shape. All we do is we make small adjustments. So for example, if you're wondering, well, Ching Yang, where do I start, right? Instead of having, say, fried dumplings, have steamed dumplings instead, right? Instead of stir frying your vegetables, maybe you could steam them as well or boil them. So small adjustments. Instead of using really heavy sauces in your dishes, maybe you could opt for a lighter version. There will be those compromises that you can make where you can meet yourself in between to still have those foods you enjoy, to still have those flavors, right? But also to reach your goals. So with this being said, let me show you some examples of what it actually looks like when you ditch all those myths, right? Perhaps you do something that's a bit uncomfortable and you actually follow a plan that, again, doesn't follow those myths, but it's backed by science and it's backed by actual results. Now, this is Raniel. She's one of our clients, and before joining us, she had always felt that she had this extra body fat that she just could not lose. She had tried cardio, she had tried classes, she was also a dancer, so she was already quite active. However, she just felt like that last bit of body fat was so stubborn and it was just keeping her feeling fluffy and soft rather than toned and defined. Now, since working with our team of coaches, not only has she lost over 15 pounds, but she's also toned up, she's built her glutes, and she's finally felt really empowered in her own body because she now knows that if she sets herself a goal, she understands her body well enough now how exercise and nutrition works to be able to get her there. I think there's nothing as empowering as just knowing that you have control over your own body, right? Now, the second one, this is Candice. She also thought that her body couldn't change. She loved her cultural foods, she loved rice, and she really didn't want to believe that she had to give all this up just to get into her best shape. And when she did attempt that, it would end up in this cycle where she'd get in shape and then gain the weight back on until she restricted again, and it was this endless cycle. Now, since working together, not only have we taught her how to still eat her Asian meals that she enjoys and to eat with her family, but she's also lost over 43 pounds. And she feels confident in her body now. She's fitting back into her old clothes. And again, she understands how her body works now. She understands that she does not have to sacrifice or to demonize her favorite foods just to feel good in her own body. And finally, this is Stephanie. She's one of our moms here in Aspire Coaching. And again, she had a very similar background where she had tried all these different programs, and a lot of the programs, they worked to an extent, but she had to eat separately from her family, make separate meals, and that just wasn't sustainable. She had to always make 2 different meals, and as a mom, you don't have much time, right? And it just became a chore rather than a lifestyle. Now, since working together, we have made sure to teach her how she can still eat the foods that she loves, eat with her family, only cook 1 meal every single night, right? Rather than 2 separate meals, and still lose over 25 pounds. Now, most importantly, she knows how to actually keep this weight off because she lost it in a way where she didn't have to isolate herself from her family and she could still eat with her kids. Now, when you look at these women, they do not work harder. They just work smarter. It's not about dieting harder, exercising more, and punishing yourself more, but rather it's about working smarter, understanding your body, and also learning that you can fit your cultural foods and, you know, everything about your family, your culture, and where you're from into your fitness goals. You can have that balance. Now, if this video was helpful and you are looking to tone up without killing yourself on the cardio machines, without depriving yourself from your favorite foods, I'd love to see how we could also help you just like our clients here. If you're interested in that and you would like that personalized approach and that one-to-one coaching just someone to hold your hand and just guide you through the process, you can apply for our coaching in the link below. Or if you like to, just send me a message over on Instagram with the words coaching and I can share with you some more information and we can go from there. And otherwise, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe as I will be posting weekly, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!